a mama on a mission who wants to inspire connectedness amongst people and is very excited to speak tonight. So please welcome Virginia Jimenez.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, So, I have a story before I go into all the trust versus trustworthiness. Something that took place in 2009. Imagine I was sitting at work, I was in a cubicle before, working at a corporate office, in a glass box pretty much. The building was made of glass, and you can see outside there was a park, and I was crunching numbers there because I used to be a financial analyst, and while I'm crunching numbers, I get a phone call. And I get this call from a really, really good friend. She's like, almost like a sister pretty much, right? And I can hear her voice in the line, and she sounds very fearful. She sounds concerned. She sounds like she's about to lose it. And she's telling me, Virginia, I need to talk to you right now. I go, yeah, I'm listening. She's like, no, I need to talk to you in person right now. And I'm like, well, I have 45 minutes left of work, and I'm working, so I don't know. I mean, and I have to pick up my kids, so we're gonna have to talk some other days. No, I have to talk to you before you get home today. Like, it needs to be as soon as you get out of work. I'm serious, it's really serious. I'm like, okay. Now my heart is like racing, and I'm just like feeling dreadful, and I'm like, oh my God, something really big is about to happen, and I have no idea what it is. And I tell her, fine, let's meet for 10 minutes. I can give you 10 minutes in Walmart parking lot on the way home. Okay, we're gonna stop at Walmart, and I'll wait for you at this spot right next to Chili's, I told her. And I meet her there. I'm waiting in my car. She's already in her car in the parking lot. She comes into my car, and she starts rambling on and on and on. And she looked really afraid. Her eyes were just showing the whites of the eyes, and she was breathing heavily, and she looked extremely nervous. And I finally said, listen, stop talking, and just say whatever it is you need to say, because you're rambling on and on. And she says, I've been sleeping with your partner. And all of a sudden, it felt like darkness. It felt like I was in this dark pit, this dark, murky pit. It was like serum. It was like malarkey, this feeling of anger and fear and sadness and mixture of all sorts of emotions. I had no idea what to do. Was I even breathing at the moment? It felt like I was sinking deeper and deeper into this disgusting, thick serum of darkness. And all of a sudden, I catch my breath. And I realize I'm wearing a vest. And what I'm imagining is a nightmare. And I get out of that nightmare, and I realize I'm still in my car, and she's right next to me, and I tell her, get out. Get out of my car right now. And I drive off, and I go and pick up my son, who was 4-month-old at the time. I had just gotten back to work from maternity leave. I hurried up and got one of my sons. The other one, I don't know what happened. I just know that I picked the smallest one up, the one that needed to be fed. And I picked him up, and I got to my mom's house, and my sister was waiting for me, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm holding my baby to my chest, feeding him, and tears are just falling onto his onesie. And I look at her, and I'm like, WTF. Who can I trust? How could this be happening? These are people that I knew and trusted and cared about still, and cared about a lot then. This was a huge problem for me. A huge problem. My life completely changed. The thing with this problem is that it's a problem that's not very unique. I thought it was a unique problem back then. But it's not a unique problem at all, actually. A lot of us go through something, maybe not exactly like my story, but we go through similar situations where we feel like we might not be able to trust people that are around us. We might not be able to feel like we trust our coworkers, our bosses, our friends sometimes with certain information. And there's a lot of research that's gone around about trust because of how it impacts not only us personally, but organizations, businesses. I don't know if I'm in the way. Organizations and businesses. There's even this company called Edelman that is a marketing firm, and they concentrate on conducting global opinion polls a specific target market, of course. You have to be educated with a degree and between the ages of 18 and 64 years old, pretty much. And they were basically asking them if they trust, their levels of trust for the government, for non-government organizations, and for the media. And this year, 2017, results already came out and they're showing there's a huge decline in trust. It's a big deal, right? It's a huge decline in trust overall, basically. And you can see some of the pictures here. The thing is that that's the claim that's going around, right? That there's this huge decline in trust. So we start asking ourselves questions around that, which I'll get to in a bit. Trust is really important, just like I was talking about in my story with my relationship that I found out was not exactly going the way I thought it was at that time. It's a huge ingredient in having a fulfilling relationship with not just your romantic partner, but in life, period. In fact, it's one of the ingredients that helps us feel happier and more content and even healthier. Because studies have found that in companies where there are trust between people, between your boss and your coworkers, you do experience less stress, overall health, better health, right? There's more engagement, obviously. You don't have to worry. Because, I mean, honestly, as human beings, subconsciously, we're constantly assessing whether we can trust people or not. When we're meeting them for the first time and when we get to know them, we start to not have as many walls up, right? We don't have those walls up necessarily. But sometimes we end up having those walls because we have these experiences. And trust is really important because, like I said, it does lead to a healthier life. Less stress, obviously, it's better for your body. Overall, in the long run, there's been lots of studies that have shown that having more fulfilling relationships ultimately leads to a happier life in the end. That most people, even though you might say, hey, what I want in life is to make a lot of money, that at the end of your life, if you don't have quality relationships, then how happy will you actually be? So, and trust is one of the ingredients of having that happy relationship. This is Dr. John Gottman and his wife, Julie Gottman. They've done over 30 years of studies on how marriages can have more fulfillment and happier marriages, and what are the ingredients needed for that. And this is what they came up with as a sound relationship house, where trust is basically, it's not even the part on the bottom, it's the part on the side. So if you don't have it, you really don't have a house, pretty much. You don't have a foundation, the trestles needed to hold up a healthy relationship. So the question, who can I trust, comes up, right? That's the main question we start to ask, and we subconsciously ask ourselves when we meet people for the first time. When we take all the information and data that we have, that we've collected from people, and we start thinking about whether we can trust them or not. How many people here are researchers, by the way? All right, cool. What if I told you everybody here is a researcher? To some extent, except you guys are really, really good at it because you have a lot more practice, obviously. Right? And you know what to look out for. I think all of us are researchers. We're constantly picking up data. We're picking up information about people. And then we use that information later on. We put it in a little folder in our mind and think about it and pick it up later on to see, is this somebody I can trust or not? Right? Through our experiences, through our beliefs, through the influences of other people outside of us. So yeah, who can we trust? But what happens is the answer to this is what? What's the answer? Who can I trust? The answer is either yes or no, right? There's no other answer to it. There's no gray. It's either yes or no. And what happens is you end up in a brick wall sometimes, right? Getting into a brick wall because, especially if you've had an experience or belief or whatever it is that you're not sure you can trust somebody, and you can very easily say no. If it's not a hell yeah, it's a no, right? Sometimes. So that question comes up and it leads to people not connecting with one another, obviously. And I think that's a really big problem. When I started to think about this, throughout my time after this happened, after that occurrence happened, I started realizing that there's this lack of connection as a result of distrust, of experiencing distrust, and asking ourselves that question of who can I trust? But I want to challenge this question. This is a challenge that I came up with because of my experience and my belief that as human beings, we thrive when we're in partnership with other people, when we create collaborations and things like that. So trust is something that we need to navigate somehow. I mean, we need to figure this out. How is it that we navigate through it if we ask ourselves, who can we trust? And if the answer comes out to no, what do we do? So instead, I think the better question is, how trustworthy are they? How trustworthy are people? See, automatically we think, who can we trust because of survival? We want to definitely protect ourselves. But when we're working in organizations, let's say, or with a partner or with even friends, you want to ask yourself how trustworthy somebody is. And here's why. See, you might trust your baker, but you're not going to trust your baker with your taxes, right? You might trust your realtor in finding your home, but you're not going to trust them with fixing your car when it breaks down at the end, sometime in the future. Because that's not what they're competent in. So these are the three things that we should consider when we're actually assessing whether we can trust somebody or not. How trustworthy are they based on these three keys? Competence, reliability, and the most important one, honesty. Right? So these are the three things. Instead of asking who can we trust, how trustworthy are they? And like I said, we're all researchers. We're collecting data all the time. Everything that we read on social media, we're putting it somewhere in our minds. Everything that we hear from other people and our colleagues, we're putting it in our minds. We're seeing something happening, we already start creating judgments and deciding, hey, I wonder what's going on over there. It must be XYZ happening, you know that? They must be cheating on each other, or they must be talking about that person over there, or whatnot. We're all creating these stories all the time. So our beliefs, experiences, and outside influence from what we hear from other people tend to kind of sculpt who we decide to trust or not, the decisions behind that. And sometimes we end up doing something like this. If this has happened, then that will happen, right? Like, if obviously I went through my experience, I was cheated on, right? So if I meet another man and get into a relationship, then more than likely it'll happen again, because it always happens. That's what happens. That's just what happens. And we can create this if-then statement all the time. However, it leads us to holding on to beliefs that